Hello, everybody. We're back again and we are ready for the next session. What a day it has been. And I'm delighted to be welcoming Gail Frankiskos to our next session. And she's going to be talking to us about reusable nappies. She's from the Nappy Emporium. She's a wife, a mom, a teacher with a passion for children. And she knew that she wanted to do cloth nappies before she fell pregnant, but she wasn't prepared for the lingo that she would be faced with. The world of modern cloth nappies can be a challenging one to navigate, and taking this into consideration, it's her aim to make the cloth nappy journey one that is easy to understand and an enjoyable one to travel. The Nappy Emporium holds a wide variety of local and international cloth nappies, all under one roof, enabling you to purchase several types while only paying one postage fee, which I think is amazing. I'm all for one-stop shops. It's exactly what the Due Date Club is all about. So I'm delighted that we've got the Nappy Emporium that has the same concept to that. She's based in Johannesburg, but invites you to share a cuppa with her or to take a squiz through the different types of nappies. And Gail, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to be handing over to you now. So I'm going to stop my video. I'm going to mute, and then you can start your video, unmute. And if you need to share your screen, then you are a co-host, so you're able to do that.
Great. Hi, everybody. It's so amazing to be here, and I feel so privileged to be part of this, this circle of, just what an amazing idea and what I would have given to have this when I was pregnant. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to share my screen. Has been giving me a few issues today in all my trials, but let's give it a go. And you can just make sure it doesn't cut off for me. Is that okay, or is it cut off on your side?
Sorry, just to let you know, that's perfect. I can see it.
Okay, fabulous. Okay, guys, so let's get the show on the road. Okay, so I am Gail, and I'm from the Nappy Emporium, and I'm here to help you navigate this world of cloth nappies. It can be so overwhelming, and I know it's going to be quite a lot of info. So just hit the chat if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer in the Q&A session, but yeah, just whack them in the chat and we'll get to them in the Q&A. Okay, so of course you've already heard a little bit about me, but let me just tell you where this all began. So when I fell pregnant, which was completely by accident, I knew I wanted to do cloth nappies, but I was not prepared for the acronyms and the lingo, and it was super overwhelming. And let's be honest, there's only so much Google searching and Facebook group joining and lingo learning before it just becomes too much and you kind of want to throw in the towel and, think to yourself, disposables are just the easier option. And that's exactly how I felt until I found the Nappy Emporium. The Nappy Emporium was originally owned by another lady, and my intention is to carry on what her vision was. It made such a difference to me to be able to go and see the nappies and touch them and feel them and get an idea of how they fitted. And that, that made my cloth journey a whole lot easier. I was finally able to understand what all this lingo was and the acronyms and what I thought would work for me and my husband. So that for me was just such a help. So that is really what I want to continue. And one of the biggest problems with cloth nappies is that there's very few brick and mortar shops you can go to and actually see them. So because predominantly online, you end up spending quite a whack of money in postage. So I want to eliminate that for you. I want you to be able to buy the best cloth nappies, a variety of brands all under one roof, and pay 1 postage fee if you're not in Joburg. So yeah, let's move on. Okay, so we're going to discuss what modern cloth nappies are, the pros and cons of them and how they work, the many different types there are, how to fit it correctly, the wash routine, cringe now, you're going to deal with poop, and what you're going to need. Okay, what you're going to need to cloth diaper your baby. All right, so what are modern cloth nappies? I think when we think of cloth nappies, we seem to think of, sorry, I just want to move you guys a little bit. Okay, so I think when we think of modern cloth nappies, we tend to think of that old-fashioned terry towel and oversized safety pin. But cloth nappies have really evolved so much since then. We now look at many different types of cloth nappy, different fits, different styles, and many different types of fabric, each fabric offering something different for you and for the absorbency of your baby. So they're available predominantly in 2 sizes, newborn and birth to potty, or one size fits most, the OSFM. So birth to potty is generally from about 5 to 15 kilos, and your newborn is generally from about 3 to 7. So there is a little bit of an overlap there. Cloth nappies are economical, designed to be sustainable, better for the environment, and as far as possible, chemical free. So we'll get into that a little bit more. Okay, so the benefits of cloth nappies. Now, there's obviously the obvious ones, you know, that it's better for the environment, and it can be, reiterate, can be more cost effective, but not necessarily. If you become a cloth nappy addict, it will not be cost effective for you. Okay, so cloth nappies are also the healthier option in terms of what you are putting against your baby's skin. They are designed to be reused, and not just for one baby. You can cloth nappy multiple babies in the same nappies, provided you look after them. So if you are going to do that, it of course makes it an extremely affordable and economical option. The idea behind reusable nappies, as opposed to disposables, when we're looking at the environmental benefits, is the amount of waste that goes to landfill and the amount of contaminants that are leached out of our disposable nappies and into the ground. And that doesn't only cause land pollution, but it tends to cause water pollution as well. So we are eliminating that. Ultimately, I guess your cloth nappies are going to land up in a landfill, but it's going to take a lot longer for that to happen, and the amount of nappies that we are avoiding going to landfill are significant. Cloth nappies are as chemical free as you're going to get. So if somebody tells you that that reusable nappies are 100% chemical free, I think they might be neglecting to think about the process that fabrics are made and detergents that we use. Obviously, if you're choosing to use a 100% natural detergent, yes, you are eliminating those chemicals. However, there are generally chemical processes that go into making fabrics. So it's as chemical free as you're going to get, however, not necessarily completely chemical free. So just keep that in mind if chemicals are something that you are very cognizant of. Cloth nappies don't dry out the skin like a disposable does. So they absorb the liquid without drying out the skin. Of course, our baby's skin is extremely sensitive, so we want to limit it drying out. We want to prevent nappy rashes, that kind of thing. cloth nappies are phenomenal in that you actually don't need a bum cream. I started out with a bum cream because, you know, that's what you do. However, I soon realized that it was a complete waste of time, wasn't necessary at all. And I haven't had one nappy rash, not one. The only thing I use on my little one is cornstarch or corn flour at night, just to try and keep the bum a little bit dry. But other than that, I don't use anything. If you do want to use nappy cream, just please don't use anything that has petroleum or zinc, because that does impact the fibers of the nappy. It tends to like clog them up and will affect your absorbency. Now here's a real bonus. Poop explosions are going to be a thing of the past. So I'm sure you have all seen a poop explosion where the poo slides up babies and everything, and we have to get that over the head, and it's just unpleasant. That will be a thing of the past. Cloth nappies contain those poop explosions like magic. Okay, so I think I've got everything there. Another thing that makes cloth nappies so amazing is that you can adjust your absorbency. So if baby is a very forceful wetter or light wetter or heavy wetter, you can adjust your absorbency so that it's you have the best cloth nappy to suit them. Okay, so what are the cons of cloth nappies? And can we just get real here for a second? There are. If anybody tells you that it's so easy and there's no downsides to it, yeah, no, there are cons. Okay, so let's just put all this poop out on the table and just roll with it. So cloth isn't for everybody, and that's okay. No judgment. If it's not for you, that's cool. It's fine, not a problem. But this is our inner circle, and no judgment yet. So let's get straight to it. Your initial outlay to build your stash, first lingo word, okay, your stash is the amount of nappies you will have in your collection. So like your stash is your collection. So your initial outlay can be quite hefty. You know, it's a lot more expensive than just popping down to Dis-Chem or Checkers and just popping a packet of Huggies in your trolley and off you go. It is a lot more expensive than that. So your initial outlay is something that you have to be aware of. Of course, I've mentioned the lingo and how overwhelming it can be. And that I don't want you to worry about, because that's what I'm here for. I'm going to take that out of the equation, and you're not going to have to worry about that, because that's what I'm here for. It does take time to get used to. It takes time to get into the swing of things, you know, the folding, if you choose to fold, the packing away, the washing, that kind of stuff. It does take time to get used to that. So, you know, grant yourself that that time where you might just want to play around with it. You know, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You know, you can do 1 or 2 cloth nappies today and see how it goes, and send me photos and see if you've got the fit right, etc., etc. And I'm here to troubleshoot with you. So really, sometimes, you know, our Facebook groups are extremely helpful, but sometimes you just actually want somebody to go, this is what you need to do, or let's try this, this, and this. So that's what I'm here for. So feel free to give me a buzz. My contact details and email will be at the end of the presentation. So take those down if you want to. there is increased washing. You are going to have to wash nappies every 2 to 3 days, depending on the size of your stash. So that is something that you're going to have to take into consideration. The time it takes to wash, dry, pack away. The type of nappies you choose will make your packing away quicker or take slightly longer. And of course, depending on your level of OCD and how you want to pack them will also increase the amount of time you take to pack these away. Okay, some people are not going to be comfortable with cloth nappies, and that is something you're going to have to accept and either teach them or deal with some of the backlash you may get. Even grannies who cloth diaper their own children might be hesitant to help you cloth diaper your own baby. But that's okay, because we've got this. Okay, so no need to panic. Poo, we got to deal with the poo. Right, so there's no such thing as rolling it into the nappy, tossing the nappy into your fancy smell containing bin. None of that here. You're going to have to get rid of it, okay? And that means you are going to have to get up close. And sometimes they're not always fun, you know. It's not always fun to do that, but it's a reality, and it's your own baby's poo, so you'll manage. A bidet sprayer attached to your toilet will make your life infinitely easier. So really, you can just spray the poo off and, you know, rinse it. I generally hang it up to dry and then toss it in the nappy bucket or washing bin. So it's not as easy as or it's not as difficult as you might think. It's actually fairly easy. Another thing just to consider is when deciding to cloth nappy your baby and choosing a school or a creche, you're going to have to find one that is cloth nappy friendly. And not all of them are, which amazes me, because when they potty train your baby, they deal with poo, but not happy with cloth nappies. Doesn't make any sense to me, but so be it. As much as you may not find your cloth nappy friendly nursery school or creche immediately, so many nursery schools and creches are becoming more familiar with cloth nappies, and many of them are either really happy to give it a go or already have kiddies in cloth nappies. Currently at my son's school, there are 2 cloth bums in his class. So really it is becoming more and more common. When cloth diapering and going out and about, that means you're going to have to carry a soiled nappy around with you. And again, cringe, yeah, I get it. But we have these amazing wet bags, and you toss that nappy in the wet bag. It will contain the smell, and you sort it out when you get home. It's again, not as difficult as it sounds, however, not as convenient as a disposable. Right, so now I'm going to move on to the different types of cloth nappies, and we'll just chat through them quickly. We've got the flat. Okay, so the flat is it's our square piece of fabric. It does need to be folded, secured with a snappy or the equivalent. It does need a waterproof cover. So that would be in between your nappy and your clothing. It's extremely trim, great for newborns, and highly absorbent. They come in a variety of fabrics. The fitted is also similar to the flat in that the whole nappy is absorbent, but now it's shaped like a disposable and you don't need to fold it. You may or may not need to secure it with a snappy, because quite a few of them do come with either Velcro, which this one, or snaps, which is the one at the bottom. Extremely thirsty. They do have a higher price tag than the flat, but great for night nappies. And yeah, because they are fully absorbent, they're super thirsty. We've got the cover. So this is the waterproof barrier, and you don't always need a cover. You need a cover with flats and fitteds. So the cover is the waterproof barrier, like I said, and secures with either snaps or Velcro. What's nice about the cover is that you don't need to change it every time you change baby. As long as it's not soiled, you can give it a wipe down and reuse it. So what I used to do is like alternate. So let the one air out, get a new one, and then next nappy change, go back to the one I'd used previously. The all-in-one, or AIO. Okay, so this is the nappy that is most likely disposable. Everything is sewn into the nappy. You don't need to fold it. It will use snaps or Velcro to secure it. No need for a cover because the waterproof cover is attached. It's all sewn in. They do tend to be slightly more expensive, and your versatility of the absorbency is not very adjustable. So kind of like what you get is what you get. So for that reason, the pocket is probably the most common type of modern reusable nappy. I love this nappy. It's so adjustable. It's easy to use. It dries fairly quickly. Uses snaps or Velcro to secure. My husband told me I have to tell you that he loves Velcro, and he way prefers it to the snaps, and he says Velcro is the way to go. However, you know, man, woman perspective. Pocket nappy is fairly trim, depending on the inserts you're going to use. So your inserts are these McGafties here that will stuff into the nappy to create your absorbency. These nappies are not great for newborns because the amount of absorbency you do have is very limited. Obviously, a smaller nappy, smaller insert, less absorbency. So that's why your flats are amazing for newborn, because the whole thing is absorbent. And like I say, they're fairly trim. These are great option for school because they fit most like a disposable. This is the sleeve. You don't need to fold it. It's slightly more expensive than your pockets. If you're looking at a pocket, I'm talking like I'm talking about the Bam and Boo range, which is made in China. So obviously it does come on slightly cheaper. A pocket, you're looking at about 150 Rand, whereas a sleeve, you're looking about 220, and your all-in-one about 190. So from a price point of view, your sleeve is slightly more expensive. You will have to secure it with either Velcro or snaps. No need to worry about a waterproof because it's all attached. Again, not great for newborns. Fairly pricey. With regards to your inserts, it usually comes as a stock standard insert, which does limit the absorbency if you only want to use those inserts. However, you can use any insert you would like. You can even fold and stuff a flat inside the sleeve or the pocket. It's entirely up to you. Just in terms of purchasing, you're going to get the stock standard insert that comes with the nappy. So that is something to consider. Another good option for schools. Okay, we've got the liner. The liner is what we would put on the cloth nappy closest to baby's bum. You're going to have two options. You're going to have a disposable option or a reusable option. The reusable option is generally made out of fleece, which offers a stay dry feel against baby's bum. So if your baby is sensitive to wetness, you're going to want to consider a fleece liner. Fleece liners allow the urine to be wicked straight through and absorbed into the nappy while keeping the solids on top. It does make cleanup a lot easier, limiting stains, although don't panic, stains are very rare. It's not often that you get stains. Your reusable liners create, oh, sorry, I said stay dry feel. Your disposable liners are made from bamboo and they do not have a stay dry feel, so they will absorb some of the urine and have a wet feel. And as much as they are advertised as flushable, I really, really don't recommend it. They often cause plumbing issues. So rather plop the poo into the toilet and toss the nappy liner, the disposable nappy liner, into the bin. Okay, so now we are going to discuss the washing and storing of dirty nappies. And I know one of my husband's biggest concerns when I wanted to do cloth nappies, he was like, oh, but it's going to stink. You know, the whole house is going to stink and it's going to smell like a farmyard. And as supportive as he was and still is, it was something that he asked me about a lot. And I didn't have all the answers. But provided your wash routine is, you know, good and done correctly, you're not going to have stink issues. Nappies need to be stored in an open, aerated basket or container. Gone are the days of soaking nappies and stirring nappy. So I'm just going to say that again. Gone are the days of storing in a closed bucket with stirring nappy. Your soiled nappies need to be rinsed. Okay, your poo nappies do need to be rinsed before placing them in the nappy basket. Again, I generally let them dry out a bit before tossing them in the nappy basket, or the nappy pail, as some people would call it. But the wee nappies, provided they're not completely soaked, I just toss into the nappy basket. Right, your night nappies need to be rinsed in hot water straight off the bum. So they wake up in the morning, take nappy off baby, and then rinse it in hot water. So basically the urine creates crystals as it dries, and then obviously they wee again, and then it dries and they wee again. So it's like this constant wet dry over the 12 hours or however long they're going to sleep for. And you need to dissolve those uric crystals before it goes into the wash. And the way you're going to do that is to rinse in hot water. Let it dry out and toss it in your nappy basket. Your wash routine, you're going to start off with a rinse and spin. That is going to take all the urine out of the nappies. And so when you start your wash cycle, you are not washing in wee water. So that's fairly important. You are going to wash on your cotton if you have a front loader, or fuzzy cycle if you've got a top loader, for your maximum length of time at a temperature of up to 40 degrees. Just check your temperature on the different brands of nappies. Some are slightly different, so just keep that in mind. You can line dry your nappies, although your covers and any waterproof fabric should be dried in the shade or indoors, just not in direct sunlight because it can damage the waterproof fabric. No tumble drying for waterproof covers or waterproof fabrics, but you can tumble dry on low if you just want to dry your inserts or soften them up, that you can do. In terms of fabric detergent, you're going to use your full recommended detergent for soiled wash, heavily soiled wash. Absolutely no Stay Soft or fabric softener or any 2-in-1 detergents. Any of those will impact on the fibers of your nappy. Okay, so what are you going to need for this and how much is it going to cost you? So the Nappy Emporium have bundles. So I've created various bundles for various budgets. I've got your budget bundle. I've got many trial bundles. In fact, one is up for grabs. So I've got many different trial bundles. I've got mega bundles. I've got budget bundles. So buying a bundle does come in at a better price. And in all my bundles, barring the budget bundles, I've tried to give you a variety of different choices in cloth nappy. So newborns tend to use a lot more nappies than bigger babies, just because they weigh a lot, and your absorbency, because the nappy is smaller, is less. So your newborn cloth nappies are going to go from 3 to 7 kilos roughly, and you're going to need about 30 to 36 of those. You will see my budget bundles on the website have slightly less nappies, but it will give you, the fewer nappies you have, the more frequently you have to wash. So that's just something to keep in mind. When you move on to your one size fits most nappies, you need about 24. However, if you just want that little bit of leeway, maybe the rain, etc., I would, go to roughly 30 just to be on the safe side. Again, budget bundles, mega bundles. You're looking in newborn phase at a regular bundle, washing every second to third day, roughly 3,000 Rand. On a budget, I can bring it down to just on 2,000, but you are going to have to wash every day. Your mega bundle, newborn, you're looking at about 5,000, taking into consideration your drying time, the possibility of rain, and also you're going to get a lot more variety in that bundle. Your one size fits most bundle, your budget bundle, which is going to be predominantly flats, 2,000 Rand, and your variety bundle is 5,200 Rand. However, I am super, super, super happy to sit down with you, create a bundle specifically for you, what you want, what you feel that would best suit you and your family. That is 100% possible, and I'm super happy to do it. So get your phones out and a QR reader or your camera out and scan the QR code on the screen, and let's have a little quiz. Okay, so I'm gonna pop a message in the chat for me if you've done your quiz, and I can see what's going on. I'm just going to give you a few minutes to do that. Okay, you can go to your, either it will scan straight off your camera, or you can download a QR reader from your app store. So download your QR reader, and then it'll ask if you want to scan, click yes, scan the QR reader, and let's do that quiz. Tell me if you need any help, Sarah. Yeah, go for it. I always find it so strange, like talking and never getting any response. It's like talking to yourself. Ooh, well done. So I hope all of you that have done it had a little bit of a giggle towards the end and popped a smile on your face, because I'm sure you have, oh, snazzy, I like it. It's the online teaching, you know. So I hope you all had a little bit of a smile towards the end of that quiz. I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes. Sarah, how you doing? Oh, good job. Great. Okay, so now the last question in your quiz asked you what you're wearing on your feet. Take a pic and pop it in the chat. Let me see. Let me see those pretty feet. Come on, the best feet are going to get a prize. Oh, I'm so glad I can help you with QR codes and cloth nappies. Okay, so I've got slops, barefoot, barefoot, okay, so I think, Natalie, you made me laugh, so I think I'm gonna pop this prize your way. Let's have a look, see at what it is. Okay, so my giveaway today is a Nappy Emporium newborn trial bundle. So in this bundle, you're going to get an all-in-one nappy, okay, a newborn all-in-one nappy. You're going to get a hemp flat, okay, so that's one flat. You're going to get a cover, you're going to get a fleece liner, you're going to get a snappy, and you're going to get a roll of disposable liners. So Natalie, when you come through, then you can choose your colors and you can choose your prints, and I really, really, really look forward to meeting you. And yeah, just it's so nice getting some engagement here. Love it. Okay, so I'm gonna pop to the last slide, which is just my contact details. And yeah, just open the floor to any questions. Please go ahead, pepper them at me.
Can I just pop on and say that was absolutely amazing? Thank you so much. And I love the way you added all those extra bits. It's definitely added a little bit of fun and games into what's been quite a long day. I know not everybody's here all day, but I have.
So. Yeah, no, that's one thing about online. It's actually, it can be quite draining and quite tiring. Sometimes you just need to, like, you know, shake it up a bit.
And I enjoyed taking a picture of my feet.
Yeah, I thought, like, how am I going to get these people to wake up, because almost 4 o'clock, you might have been listening for ages, you know, you're going to be like, So yeah, okay, so I really got some questions coming in here.
Fantastic.
Natalie, now Happy doesn't think I'm all that crazy running around like a wild thing for my phone. Good. Okay, Cassandra, why are all-in-ones not great for a newborn? Okay, so all-in-ones, I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to pop my details in the chat. So if you haven't taken them down, they're there. But I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to actually show you some nappies. Okay, so, right, let's take a squiz here. Okay, so your all-in-one nappies for newborn are, they're beautiful and they're great to have in your stash, you know, for going out and things like that, or going to granny, grandpa, etc., etc. But your absorbency in your all-in-one is very, very limited. So you've literally got these two inserts that are very small, and because of their size, they can't hold a lot of liquid. So that's what makes them quite difficult and not great for a newborn. You are going to have to change quite frequently if you choose to use an all-in-one for a newborn. They are also fairly pricey. So if you are looking at doing cloth from an economical point of view, you know, 190 Rand for one nappy that you're only going to use till they're about 7 kilos, and you're going to need quite a few, is going to whack up the cost quite a bit. So that is why they are not fabulous for newborn. Whereas your, let me grab it quickly. Whereas your flat or your fitted, let me show you a fitted. I've got one here. Your fitted, the whole thing is absorbent. So again, I've got two inserts. Okay, I've got my two inserts, which are, yes, they're small, but they're fully, but coupled with that, I've got the whole nappy that can also absorb the urine. So the amount this can hold, as opposed to just the two inserts in your all-in-one, is vastly different. And that's why your all-in-one isn't a fabulous option for newborn stages. Does that answer your question? Anybody else? Cool. I'm so glad, Sarah. It's really, that's exactly what I wanted to achieve here. And I really hope I haven't overwhelmed all of you. I know it can be so daunting, you know, all the lingo and all of that stuff. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop my details in the chat, and I'm also going to pop a few Facebook pages that you can go to and get more info there, as well as a few websites. Yeah, he's listening. And he's listening to the savings, but just don't become an addict, hey? Yes, you can absolutely use your cloth nappies straight out of hospital or in hospital. That is completely your choice. Because you only need to wash your nappies every 3 days, you can absolutely start them in hospital. You know, a lot of hospitals now are offering private wards. So rinsing is really easy. If you need to, you don't have to worry about the meconium staining your nappies, especially if you're going to use a liner. But you know what? This isn't an all or nothing. Take your cloth nappies to hospital if it's not working. Toss on a disposable. It is okay. It is absolutely okay. There are no cloth nappy police, and it is all right. Do what works for you. You know, becoming a mum first time, there's a lot. There's a lot, and it's okay if cloth in the hospital is just a bit much. That's okay. That's okay. Use a disposable. It's all right. And then when you're home, you're going to give me a call and we're going to troubleshoot it together, and we can video call, or I can come around to your house if you're close by and we can go through it together. So it's, you can start in hospital, absolutely, but don't feel like you have to.
Can I just pop on and say thank you so much? I mean, I know it's not over yet, and I'm hoping there's still going to be some more questions, although your presentation was so comprehensive and really did answer all the questions that I know people have. And I think that's probably because it comes from a perspective of you having been stuck in that overwhelm and asking all those questions and not being able to find the information. So
yeah, it's really tough.
It's really been fantastic, and also being able to show them and just the different lingo that's around them. So it's fantastic. And I see now there is actually a question from Esty.
Yeah, we're going to use cloth. Our fluff stash arriving this week. Cool. Bought one size fits most night nappies. My question is, what cover will be best for warm nights? Waterproof or fleece? We live in a very warm, humid area. Just worried that the night nappies will be very warm. Okay, so I'm going to give you my total personal opinion here, and it is what I experienced, and I'm going to give you my preference. Night nappies are phenomenal. They can hold so much. Depending on which one you choose, of course, they can hold a mammoth amounts of liquid. I've got one nappy here that can hold over 700 mils of liquid. So warm nights, yes. Fleece, although they will say it's not hot, you put a fleece pair of shorts on, you're going to be hot. I am personally not a fan of fleece covers, but that is, like I say, my personal opinion, and by no means does that mean it won't be one that you like. Personal preference for me is a soft shell cover for night nappies. Soft shell covers are very soft. The elastics are very soft. So a soft shell cover is exactly like those jackets you get, like a soft shell jacket. So it is waterproof. It's not water resistant, which is what fleece is. So fleece, your fleece cover is going to push the urine back into the nappy, as opposed to your waterproof nappy or nappy cover that is actually not going to allow the wetness to come out. Okay, so there's your major difference. Soft shell covers, let me grab one for you. Whoops. Look like this. So they've got the soft shell on the outside, and then they've got a liner on the inside. It's really, really, really soft. This is a brand called Mini Matters. It's a local brand, and these are quite an affordable option in terms of covers. They are not reusable, so you're going to have to, not like the other covers where you can just wipe them down. These will have to be washed every time, but they are a phenomenal option for night nappies. I don't recommend you use another lingo. Okay, it's a pool nappy, so a nappy cover, which is your normal cover. Let me grab one for you here so you can see. This is just your ordinary cover like was on the presentation. These covers, the elastics tend to be a lot harder, and you really do want an elastic that is going to be nice and soft against the legs for that extended duration of time. Yeah, so that's my personal opinion. I would personally go with the soft shell cover.
Gail,
My pleasure.
I stepped out in the beginning of your chat to grab a cup of tea, and I'm not sure if you covered any of the aspects of the health effects of using reusable or of using disposables. Did you cover that at all? And have you got any insight into that?
Yeah, okay. So your disposable nappies they contain crystals, which basically that is what makes your disposable nappy so absorbent. Those little crystals inside those nappies will basically swell like 60 times their size to contain liquid. However, those crystals are 100% synthetic chemical based, and they do their job, and they do their job really well. However, if those crystals come out of the nappy, so generally if a nappy tears, it becomes extremely wet and tears, and those crystals come onto the baby's skin, that is chemicals directly on an extremely sensitive part of your baby's body. And let's be honest, that is their genitals there. That is an extremely sensitive part of their body, and we don't want any chemicals there if we can at all help it. So that is what makes your cloth nappy so much better than your disposable nappy. But also, I know a lot of people worry about will my cloth nappy leak? And I think that is a misconception, because if your nappy is absorbent enough, then it's not going to leak. If it is leaking, generally there's something wrong with your fit. And people often choose to go either back to disposables because there's a leak, or they are too scared of a leak that they don't try a cloth nappy. But yeah, I think everyone will agree with me when we say that we all are very well aware of the chemicals that can of chemicals and the impact they can have on our body. There are a number of chemicals that are carcinogenic, and sometimes they are in nappies. I urge you, the next time you walk into a Dis-Chem or any shop where they sell disposable nappies, and find an ingredient list on that packet. I have looked on Huggies packets, and I have never found an ingredient list on that nappy. And for me, that begs the question, why? But that's just me.
So thank you so much for sharing that. And I'll give a little bit of insight into that as well, because I'm a great believer in cloth nappies for that exact reason, both environmental, the ease, the financial, but specifically for the health, and specifically because of those crystals and the chemicals and the toxins that we speak about, and the fact that they're not mentioned anywhere. And we naturally assume that companies who are dealing with baby products would do everything that they possibly could to minimize on toxins. And I don't think that we can necessarily trust that that is happening, especially when we are unable to see what their list of ingredients is. And it's interesting, actually, because in one of my classes, I was talking about this, and I shared, the reasons to use reusable nappies over disposables. And one of the dads in the class was a science teacher, and he decided to do an experiment with the kids in his class, and brought in a whole lot of disposable nappies, and they cut them in half, and they emptied out all the stuff, and they were adding water and doing things with them. And 3 of the kids ended up at the school nurse because they inhaled the chemicals that had come out of these disposable nappies. So he got into a lot of trouble, but he mentioned it to me, and he just said, it was something that he'd never actually considered, and just assuming that because it was something that was made specifically for babies, that it would naturally be safe. And what you mentioned about the chemicals being in close contact with your baby's genitals is incredibly important for both girl babies and boy babies, but specifically boy babies, because if we think about it, the testicles is where the sperm is developed. And the reason testicles are outside a boy's body is in order to make sure that they don't get too warm. It's almost like a temperature control. And very often the chemicals that are present in those disposable nappies have a heat reaction. Part of that gel and chemical reaction of being able to absorb that causes a heat reaction, which means that we are also making, exposing the genitals to a heat reaction that they shouldn't be exposed to. And we have to think about the long-term impacts of that on fertility, on health and everything. And, at 6 o'clock, we've got Dr. Beulah van der Westhuizen, who will be talking to us about the development of your baby's brain. But she is a neurodevelopmental psychologist, and she has a lot to do with neurotoxins and neurotoxicity, and specifically in childhood. And that is one of the things. And I don't know if she will address it specifically, because she is talking more about baby's brain development in utero. But at 7 o'clock, I think it's at 7. Yes, we also have somebody who's going to be talking about a non-toxic environment. And once again, it's not going to necessarily be about nappies, but I think it's just about being mindful that we have to look at our environment. It's something that we never thought about before, but we are so much more aware of it now. And so, if we are aware of it, then we can avoid it, and we can make 100%. Sure that everything that we are exposing our baby to is safe. And if there is an alternative, and it's a good alternative, why wouldn't we use it? And at the same time, that doesn't mean you shouldn't use disposables, because they are very handy, if you go out on a picnic or you're on holiday or whatever. But to be using them 24/7 for years, when there is an alternative, that I think that's where the difference comes in.
Absolutely. And with the disposable production and the companies that make disposable nappies, it is in-house regulated. There's no external body that regulates the manufacture of nappies and how they are made and what goes into making them. And I think also that is it begs the question, why is it not a regulated industry? Why is there not an external body that is regulating the production of them, what goes into them, and what are the concerns if those crystals do come out of the nappy and directly onto the skin? Like you mentioned, inhaling them is extremely dangerous. And again, not a lot of people know that if your disposable nappy does tear, it has to be thrown in the bin, and it has to be thrown away in a way that those crystals will not come into contact with anybody else. Sorry, Cassandra, the fleece cover, the compression. Sorry, this is my Labrador. That's bashing my door. Sorry. So fleece does, you can get compression 100%. However, if your nappy is absorbent enough, then you won't have a problem with compression leaks. So anytime you're going to get a leak with fleece is when your actual nappy isn't absorbent enough. So it won't necessarily lead to compression leaks just because you're using fleece. It will depend on the absorbency of your actual nappy.
Gail, I think we probably need to start wrapping up. It's almost on the hour, which means that we're getting ready for our next speaker. But I know that you're going to be coming back again at
see you at
5 o'clock. And you're going to be talking about car seat safety, which has got just as much lingo and is just as important as the subject of reusable nappies. So thank you so much. It's been absolutely amazing. And I know that everybody's enjoyed it from the amount of interaction and participation. Absolutely loved the quiz that you shared. So thank you so much for that. And well done to the lucky person who will be getting her little Fluff Emporium bundle. And yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such an honor, and I really hope that just by chatting about it, it's kind of alleviated some of the overwhelm that comes with cloth nappies. And like I say, please, I'm gonna pop my contact details on the chat. If you have any questions, please pop me an email, pop me a WhatsApp, give me a buzz. I'm here to help you and make this journey a happy one.